Thank you for coming to our presentation of Juice Technologies one-click multi-document automation, streamlining approvals and workflows. So we did this presentation live at Empower 2025 in New Orleans. And again, for those of you who have been here, we had 85 or so people who came and saw this presentation live. There's some aspects of this presentation that were interactive and were in person, so I'm going to try my best to recreate those. But we're also going to get to the main point today, which is showing you guys our one-click multi-document automation add-on and how we got the steps together in order to do that. But before going into all that, I'm just going to quickly introduce the team, right? So I'm just going to show you guys a quick slideshow from the current slide. And we have our team here. So for those of you who don't know or haven't worked with Juice Technologies for many years, we have Keith Justice, our CEO. We have Todd Justice, our CTO. Myself, Matt Tillinghast, Senior CSM, and the one who's going to be talking to you for the next 45 minutes. And then we also have one of our developers, Shally Singh, who helped put this whole presentation as well as the Quickbase application all together. So Shally's going to be interacting in this presentation as well. We have been working with Quickbase for over 20 years. For those of you who don't know, and maybe you're seeing this on YouTube for the first time, but we build and automate end-to-end processes directly within Quickbase and have been doing this for over 20 years, right? And we also have 20 plus add-ons that we built specifically for Quickbase. So document generation, eSignature, data entry, advanced messaging solutions, and many more, all without ever leaving Quickbase. And that's kind of what we're known for. We love to help make robust workflows within Quickbase by using these tools and, of course, leveraging the power of Quickbase itself. And we have proven results, right? So we've done this in over 6,500 applications, 60 million documents generated all time with Juice Technologies, and 7.2 million last year alone. So that's a whole lot of documents. And of course, we're trusted across many industries. So if you don't see your industry here, it doesn't mean that we don't work with you. We work with all of the industries Quickbase has in mind, but specifically construction, manufacturing, healthcare, and legal, we've worked with very often and have built some really cool workflows, including ones that we're going to show today with Package Builder. So just a quick intro. This is our team. This is actually taken at Topgolf. Topgolf is actually a client of Quickbase, if you guys didn't know, and we run their crisis management system. So if you guys ever, start a fire, hit someone in the head with a golf club at Topgolf, we will find out. So please don't do it. And we also have some great, quotes from our clients, some active clients who are using us. So from the villages in Florida, if any of you guys have grandparents, they may be in the villages, or any retired parents or such. But Juice Tech, without us, we required 30 hours per week, and it dropped to 5 hours, freeing up our employees for more important tasks. So that's just a quick quote from Brian, and Brian's using Exact Forms Plus and JuicedSign. And then we also have from Impact Medical. They can confidently say that they would have at least 2 or 3 more employees to handle the amount of work that Juice Technologies is saving them. So what we're trying to hit home here, the impact of what we're doing, is we're saving time with robust automated features that are going to give you the ability to have an entire workflow within Quickbase that sometimes can be done with one button click or triggered based off one change in Quickbase. And the cool thing about Chris Curran and Impact Medical is they are a Juice licensed customer as well. And we're going to get into that in a little bit to give you some more details. But now I'm going to go into a little part of this presentation, which was really great live. But we're going to try to recreate some of that magic here in person. So bear with me as I try to show you this analogy that's going to kind of open the door to what we're talking about today. And this analogy is really based off of taking 5 small steps and how it allows you to achieve bigger goals. So before I stand up and make a fool of myself, I'm just going to quickly explain this to you. If you have 5 small steps, right, we're going to use these folders to kind of show you. If you take 5 small steps, and you're able to walk across them, you're going to be able to get to the other side, to the finish line, to an end goal. But if you take out 3 of those steps and try to take one giant leap, in all likelihood, you're going to fail. So the point of the analogy is to explain to you all that if you take small steps to achieve a larger goal, you're going to be more successful. But to do that, you have to take each step. So if I put these folders down and I walk across, I can walk across these folders and get to the other side, no problem. But if I take the 3 middle ones away, and I know you can't really see this, but if I take the 3 middle ones away, I'm going to break my ankle if I try to get to that other step here, right? There's no way I can get to this last step unless I take those previous smaller steps to achieve that goal. So the reason why we're doing this and explaining it is what you're going to see today with Package Builder is a large process. It is an end goal. This is something that took many small steps to achieve. So we just want to set expectations so you all understand that this is not going to be something where you snap your fingers, you install it, and it's ready to go out of the box. You're going to have to configure those small steps, and eventually you'll have your achieved goal. And then from that point on, you'll have one button click to rule them all, one big red button. And that essentially will save your time, your company time, money, man hours, hours, in the field, or just manual labor and things that are going to lower risk, right? You're not going to have as much risk because there's going to be a workflow, a process that you're going to be able to follow every single time. But let's just talk about today's project summary report, project closeout, project opening. There's many words for it that have been floating around that people brought up to us after this presentation, but we called it a project summary. So we're showcasing something that's based on a real client's use case. So one of JuicedSign's clients are actually doing this. And we're going to be generating a multi-page summary with one click. So no repetitive data entry. And then we're going to send that out for eSignature for approval. So the approvals will be waiting via email, and they'll also get notified via text. So you'll hear on my phone a ding in a little bit when I get that notification. So that's going to be real. And then you're also able to track and finalize the approval process within Quickbase. So you'll have a full audit trail and visibility to make sure things are still moving. It's eliminating delays, and you're kind of staying on top of people who owe you kind of a signature. Right? So what add-ons are going to be used during this process? So we have document management, right? So the first thing you're going to be able to use is Exact Forms Plus. And Exact Forms Plus is going to generate a P&L document, a project receipt document. Then you have Excel docs doing timesheets, invoices, Gantt charts, estimates versus actuals. You have an OSHA form, a materials list using PDF Stamper. PDF Stamper is great for those who may be a little bit more in tune with their creative side using Canva or Adobe Acrobat or any PDF Illustrator. And then you have PDF merger as well. That's going to merge all the documents together into a comprehensive package. Package builder, of course, which is going to trigger and orchestrate the entire document generation process. And as we call it, kind of the maestro of the entire thing, who's going to kind of tell everyone in the process when to go, where to go, and why they should come together. And that's kind of the big one, right? So we're really going to be focusing on package builder. And then we have document portal, which uploads multiple pictures of receipts to back up the invoice. So maybe receipts, maybe different, site visit photos. So document portal is one of our newest tools, and we can't wait to highlight that today. As well as for the approval and client communication, we're going to be sending it out for eSignature using JuicedSign. And that's going to have the eSignature approval aspect. That's a legally binding eSignature solution. And we also have Text My Quickbase being utilized for the JuicedSign activity. And like I'm about to show you again, we're really focusing in on Package Builder. That's what's really doing the majority of this presentation. That's, again, the maestro. That's telling everyone when to go, when to fire, and what order they should be fired in. So what does Package Builder really do? Most of you don't really know. So it's generating Word documents, Excel documents, PDF, images that might be within Quickbase or a cloud, taking static PDFs, and also taking blank pages, which can be very important depending on your workflow, and then saving that all to either the cloud or being able to be sent out via an email or sent out for eSignature using JuicedSign or DocuSign. So Package Builder controls that entire process, builds a whole automated sequence based off of one button click. And it's an underdog here at Juice Technologies, and not something that many people realize we have the ability to do, because you're kind of taking a whole sequence of things and putting it all together into one workflow. So why don't we go ahead now and go into the application, which is actually going to show how we're going to get this done. So what I'm doing is I'm landing into our time tracking management application. Now, can everyone see this? I believe you can, right? So for those of you who are, users of Quickbase, you may or may not have heard of the exchange. So if I hit this waffle bar menu, the top left, you can see the exchange here. So Quickbase's Exchange is an open library of applications which you can download and start using today. What we did is we took the time tracking management application from what Quickbase's section of Pro Apps, and we basically put all of Juice Technologies add-ons, the 8 that we described, into this application for you to be able to utilize. And we want to show that you can put Juiced add-ons into any existing application. You don't need to use something out of the box in order to be successful with this. It can fit into your use case, your mold, your company's needs. But we, of course, did make some modifications to this, but it gave us a great head start out of the box. So shout out Katie Strong and the team there at the Solutions Consultants teams. They were able to build a great app to give us an awesome head start on this. So a lot of people ask, what does this application do? Right? So it's a comprehensive app designed to streamline workflows for accounting, project managers, and foremen to better track KPIs per project or job. So we're doing this per project. It's going to be an entire project. And then you could see all the various tables below, which are child tables, which are going to feed us the information that we're going to be generating with this package builder. So let's just jump over to the Juice Tech dashboard and kind of see what we're going to be utilizing here. So of course we're utilizing Quickbase. Quickbase is really the background, the backbone of everything we're doing here. Quickbase is going to allow us to actually generate everything. It's going to be the storage place of all of our data. And then Juice Technology is going to take it from there to actually make the comprehensive package. But we're also going to use FastField. Now in this example, you guys weren't in person, so we weren't able to get the FastField portion included in this. But we did this live in New Orleans. We had multiple folks you can see here on the right actually join and put their images in. I'm not going to show everyone's faces, but you can see we had a couple of folks that were actually able to participate live. And then we're also going to be using Word, Excel, Adobe Acrobat, and JuicedSign in order to do this, as well as SMS. And you may have noticed that there's a couple other use cases for Package Builder here, right? So if a project summary doesn't necessarily resonate with you, that's okay, because we also have done many other use cases such as contract proposal packages, patient intake, logistics, student enrollment packets, HR and onboarding, and many more. Those are just a few other use cases that we have active clients using Package Builder for, and it's typically to make these comprehensive documents that might have data coming from many different sources or from many different document types. Right, so let's just open the project right away and get into what we're doing. So for our presentation, we were doing the renovation of Caesars Superdome. So we wanted to include some information that's pretty relevant. So we just have the address of the Superdome here. We have some job hours, right? The total estimate, estimated completed, total actuals, profit and loss, gross percentage. Just keep an eye on a couple of those numbers as they're going to be shown on our actual generated documents in a bit. And we also have some project managers, some active players within the Saints organization. Since we were in New Orleans, we thought we would have some, pizzazz of New Orleans and the New Orleans Saints. So we had Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, just a couple of names that you guys may know, especially for those of you who may play fantasy football. And as I scroll down here, you'll also see that we have many tabs. So what are going on in these tabs? What's happening here? So each one of these tabs is actually a separate document that's being generated, a small step that's being included in this process. So each of these small steps play a role in that finished package that we're going to be generating, but I'll show you guys all those in a bit. I want to first start with the first piece here, which is our project photos. So I'm going to open up Document Portal. Now, Document Portal, for those of you who don't know, this is our newest tool, which allows us to upload multiple files to Quickbase or to a cloud repository with just a few clicks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few pictures of the Caesars Superdome that I saved from before, and I'm going to open them and upload them. Now, because I have some required fields on our repository table, which is our, our document photos table, I could choose what type I want. So inspection, site photo, survey. So I'm going to go with site visit. I'm going to hit save. And this is going to automatically upload those 3 records with those 3 files. And from there, there's a couple things I could do. I could actually grid edit these. So I can put some comments in and put something like great. And maybe I have put, 10 or more, and I want to be able to fill down. So I could fill down great. And maybe I want to take the time taken and I want to do it as today. And then I actually want to fill up. So I can fill up or fill down, and I could save those comments there. And the one thing that we could also do is I could right click and I can download the selected, I could preview the selected, or I could hit select all. Now, when I could hit select all, we have a really cool way. What we could do is we could actually download all of these files as well. So now we're able to get a zip of all of those files that I just selected, and we're able to, be able to review those on our File Explorer as well. One of the other cool things that we could do here too, and a lot of people ask for this, is we have dark mode and many other different styles of lighting. So I know a lot of you Quickbase developers really like that. That's an option for you as well. So you can see here on the bottom, we have our report link. Once I close this out, you're going to be able to see those 3 records are going to be created with the files available, as well as all the comments that I put in for those 3. So that doesn't need to be 3. It could be, 50 plus long of different site video, different site visit video, pictures. You could do different inspection reports, whatever it might be, whatever your users in the field need, you could have them working in that. And Document Portal is, of course, mobile friendly. So if you guys need people in the field taking those photos, you can do that as well. And, before I go in and show you guys each one of these tabs where we generate an individual document for this, all those small steps, I think it's going to be best to kind of show you guys the big picture at the end before we go and touch on each one in the beginning. So I'm actually going to press the big red button now, and we're going to go ahead and process this entire package. And I think this is really important for everyone to see. When I hit this process package, we're actually going to start and generate every one of those documents in one quick click, right? So now we have, first off, we have our invoice, and that's generating document template number 2. So that's its own individual template. So for those of you who have used one of our document generation add-ons, you know that we have to identify which template we want to use. And that's an Excel document. So we're generating that first Excel document. That's going to take us a little bit. And then we have our profit and loss document that's being generated. That's an exact forms plus document. Now that's using template 4. So that took us about 21 seconds to generate. And then we're generating our Gantt chart. So we're going to have a really cool, really comprehensive Gantt chart that's going to be included as well. That's an Excel document. And you could see we kind of have these details being piled in. And many times we tell folks, hey, when you run Package Builder, go grab yourself a cup of coffee, sip of water, maybe use the bathroom quickly. This typically takes about a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes, depending on how many documents you have. But it's an automated process. You press the button, you watch the loading bar go. Take a sip of water, watch it, go out. So we see all these different templates. And the cool thing about these different templates is this is in a sequence that we decided. You can see that it's not, template 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is in a different sequence based off of where we need these documents to be generated in what order. So after about a minute and 24 seconds, you can see that all of these documents were generated. You can see the process time for each one of them. And when I close this out, this project's going to refresh, and we'll actually have our comprehensive PDF package generated back to this individual record. So we have our project summary, which was generated at this date and time. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what we're able to generate here. So I'm going to zoom in a bunch because I know you guys really can't see it. So if this is too big, let me know, but I hope everyone can see what you need to see. So from here, we have our first document, which is basically our invoice. This is kind of our cover sheet. So we have to the owner of New Orleans Superdome. We have our 1.4 million number, 67,000, and all of these pieces of information that came directly from Quickbase. You could also see kind of a little nudge as to where we're going to be signing some documents in a bit. We have our continuation sheet. Now this was done in Excel, right? So now we're kind of seeing all of these line items, these headers, which is dynamic to the exact needs that my clients need to see it in, right? So you can control these header columns, column headers in the exact format that you want. So you can see we can do some really advanced stuff like, expanding across 2 different columns here and all of, the different column letters being included at the top. And when they break to another page, you can see that we actually also can keep those column headers as they break. So if the information goes further than one page, you can still see those headers. So it doesn't just flow onto more information. So that's important as well. And you can see we have our header repeat, of course. And then from the bottom, you can see we have our grand totals, and our grand totals for each one of those lines all add up based off of the different values. And you'll see these numbers several times throughout this entire presentation. So that leads into the next document, which is our profit and loss, right? So the profit and loss summary here, this is actually a pretty cool document because we're using Exact Forms Plus here, but we're also able to do summary reports. So within this here, we have the labor expenses, and this is a summary by employee. So you can see with Alvin Kamara, this is his project and the total billable rate and the total amount of hours that they worked, right? So we have all these summaries per each employee, which of course then we can total up at the bottom. And we have the same thing for material expenses. It's another summary of all of the materials we use. So for the entire Superdome, we only use 10 bolts, which is amazing. But you can have all of the summaries of all the different materials that we used, as well as other expenses, right? So maybe we just had some employee OSHA training fees, which we're able to include, again, any of the information from Quickbase, which of course we're able to have then come at the bottom here in our total final summaries, where again, someone, whether it's a vendor or an executive, can review these numbers. And again, a quick hint to where we're going to be signing things in a little bit. Our next document is an Excel document, or it's a Gantt chart. Now, this one's really cool. This Gantt chart gives you the ability to see, just like you would in Quickbase, but in your own professional format. So when you want to see kind of the project timeline, you can see exactly where and when in the process you guys are. And you can see, we have our date line here, where we are, and if things are completed or delayed. And this, of course, can go on to the next sheet as well. So you can see what's maybe on track as well as what's completed. So you have everything broken out by week and also broken out by phase here on the left. And that's all done within Excel, so you don't need to use Quickbase's Gantt add-on in order to achieve that. We have our project labor report, which we just wanted to show some of the ways you can get a little bit more color involved. So you can see regular hours, overtime hours, and double time hours all at the top, and then all kind of accumulated together. And then we have grouped by phase here, subtotaled and eventually grand totaled, all of these project labor per different phase. So each one of these phases, which you can see here on the left, or cost code, we're including all of the information per that cost code and why we were billing towards that cost code, when it was billed, kind of how much it was billed for, all down, all with this, the subtotals. And as you scroll down all these pages now, if you're an executive, if you're a vendor who's paying, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, you want to see the granular information. You want to be able to kind of figure out where all of the money's going and why you're spending it. So you can see we have pages and pages of what may be kind of the same information to the blind eye, but for those who are really looking into things, you're seeing kind of exactly the details you want to see. So we have our final subtotal, and then of course our grand total of all of those subtotals. So really important information, and also important to show across several pages. And we're actually going to make sure that that individual is signing off so that they can prove that they agree that these hours are correct per each one of these cost codes. We have our project budget variance, right? So now we want to see kind of from what we estimated at the beginning of the project, where did we end off at the end of the project? So we can see with the labor budget versus what we actually spent, where the materials came in, what we total budget, and again, grouped by phase. So you can get really intense with how you're grouping things so that it's exactly the way your executives or your vendors or your customers want to see these documents. And you can take all of those, again, those break out to the next page. Those headers still stay the same. The column headers all still stay. So you can kind of see the formatting as you expand, as these documents get larger and larger, right? As you can see, this is only a 28-page document, but we have clients who are doing 200 pages. So there's going to be a lot of information in here, a lot of project budget variance numbers, again, all grouped by phase, all subtotaled, and then at the bottom here, all grand totaled. And I just wanted to point out again, the same numbers that are being found everywhere across these documents, right? Just so that when you're looking at this and executives looking at this, they can see that there's a continuation throughout the entire thing. And then we have one of our PDF documents. This is a material list. And I wanted to show you guys this again for those of you who may want to have a little bit more color, a little bit more control of what the document's going to look like. This is a material list that was generated in Adobe. Again, you could use any PDF editor you want for PDF stamper. We then have our OSHA 300 form. Now this, we can see no one died during our project, which is great news, but you can also include this per project so you can make sure that you don't have to have someone manually filling these things out. And then that kind of leads into our project photos. So what you may have saw before when I was uploading those individual photos, there are these site visits. So you can just see we took some photos out in the field and you wanted to include that on the document. So you wanted to just make sure that they were the right pictures at the right times, right? So just 3 photos of the Superdome, keep it nice and simple. And something here that, for those of you may not think that it's as important as it is, but when you have these large documents, there's going to be different sections. And each section may be, 25, 50 pages long. So when you're just scrolling through, it's easy to get lost in there. Having a page intentionally left blank is super important to be able to include, and you can include that in the sequence wherever you want. And it doesn't have to say page intentionally left blank. It could do a summarization of what the next amount of documents are. It could be the next set of documents is a project summary. The next is budget variance. Next is profit loss. That way, someone who's skimming through, they may be able to find the exact section they're looking for. And then the last thing is just participation certificate. Now, for those of you who came in person, we really appreciate you guys coming. So just a few of those who did come in person, we really appreciate your guys' attendance. Right, so these were just a couple quick pictures from Empower itself. Not to give you guys FOMO, it was an awesome time, and doing this presentation live was really a great experience and awesome opportunity. So we just wanted to include a couple of those that came from Fastfield as well. And the final page is just an approval page where you're kind of signing off that everything here is exactly as it said it would. So now that we kind of review that whole thing, why not send it out via JuicedSign? And this is where we're kind of getting into the part of the process where I mentioned earlier in the presentation, we have the ability to have an audit trail of what's kind of going on here. So you may have many signers, you may have people that need to sign in a certain order, and you have the ability to do that within JuicedSign, and you can see kind of who's lacking in the process. So as this is loading, it's going to tell us who the recipients are, when we're going to send them reminders as well. So maybe it's 3 days, we're sending them a reminder, and maybe we send them a reminder every 3 days. And then who's it coming from? What document is it? And again, who are the recipients? So in this use case, it's just going to be myself and Shally. And I'm going to be the first signer. As you can see order 1 and order 2, and we're both signers here. Now, in this example, I'm going to be a captive recipient. So I'm going to be able to sign right from within this. So right from within this window, I can check this checkbox, which is part of the legally binding terms and conditions that we have to go through for it to be a legally binding e-signature solution. And we jump right back into the same document we were reviewing before. So now you can see we have our box to check. So I can click to sign here. So I could either sign with one of the selected styles it gives me, or I can draw my signature right on here. But for this presentation, I'm just going to choose the first signature. You'll see it come up right on the document as well as the date. And then I can scroll through and review the whole document. Or since I'm the sender, I kind of want to just hit next and go to the next place that I have to sign, just like you would with any other e-signature solution. So now I'm just going to initial that these project photos are correct. And these are the ones that I did upload. And I want to make sure the vendor or the executive who's going to see this is not going to laugh at an incorrect picture. And then I'm going to go to the very last step, which is an approval page, which I'm just going to check a checkbox and click to sign off again as myself. Once I hit finish, you're going to drop to this congratulations page. This is a landing page. You can control this yourself too. So if you use JuicedSign, you have the ability to also, have your own landing page. So once that comes in, I'll see that if I go to the JuicedSign tab, I have that audit trail. And for those of you who may have heard that, I just got my text message saying I have a document to sign. So that's part of text my Quickbase there. So that's something we wanted to make sure we showed is just we get a text. You could set it up so that people also get a text message to say, hey, you have a document to be signed on your end. But if I go and look at that audit trail, now I can see where everyone is in this process. So I can see the status is delivered. You can see that up here. But I could also see who's it delivered to. So the first recipient in the sequence, it was delivered at 1:30, opened at 1:30, and signed at 1:31. And that was to Matthew. Now to Shally, you could see that it was delivered. It was delivered at 1:31, and then it was not opened and it was not signed. So we just want to make sure you guys are understanding that these fields are being updated as the process goes along. So once I hit open on this side here, so I'm going to go ahead and bring over this email. And I'm going to show you guys right here that we do have the email via JuicedSign for me to sign. So once I hit click to review, and I hit this checkbox here to agree to terms and conditions, I can actually go back into Quickbase, hit refresh, and show live that the document was opened at 1:33. So it's pretty cool. You get a full audit trail of when things happen. So if, for example, here Shally never signs, you have the ability then to resend them the email to make sure that they are signing or to see if they're having any issues. But if I just jump back into the document, I can scroll down and see the next place to sign. Again, I can sign as Shally here. When we did this presentation live, Shally was running her keyboard, so she was able to do this portion. And then I'm going to hit next and take me to the next place in the document where I'm going to sign again here. This is on the profit and loss. And then I'm going to drop to the next portion where I'm going to sign again as Shally. And again, and I'm clicked all the way at 50%. That was wacky. I don't know why I went to 50. So Shally's name, click again as Shally, and keep going through the process where I'm signing all the initials. If this was an executive or a vendor or a customer, they would want to see all the different portions of the process where they're seeing where these numbers are coming from, and we want to make sure that they're approving each part. And again, at the bottom here, you can see my signature that came from the first signer, so I can check and sign again, so that now you have both the executive and the sender, or both the vendor and the customer, whoever it might be, all signing finish. Again, the landing page could be of your own. Close it out. And when I hit refresh one more time, you'll see that we'll have our final signature captured, and you'll see complete all around. And in about a minute and 30 seconds, you'll see our final document, our signed agreement will be back to the same project record for everyone who's included in the project to review. So now you have it for risk reasons as well, right? So if there's any reason you ever get audited or someone says they didn't sign something, they didn't approve the price, they didn't approve the amount of work that you guys were having done, you'll always be able to quickly and easily jump back to this record and see exactly what they signed off on and be able to prove, hey, John Doe, Jane Doe, you did sign off on this, and here's when you did it. And we actually have a pretty cool agreement certificate as well. And that's going to be included in this, where you're going to be able to see exactly who and when they signed off. So again, in about a minute 30 seconds or so, you'll have that document come back. And once that comes back in, you'll have that. And I just want to also point out a few more things here. Each one of these tabs, like I was mentioning before, have their own small piece of this puzzle, have their own small piece of this process. So you can generate all of these individually. And you could also see in this project docs section here, which I didn't show, you have the ability to have a repository table of all of the individual documents that were generated during this process. So you can see each one of the documents that were generated are all found here. So we have our invoice, P&L, project schedule, project timeline. So every individual document is available on its own before it was all merged together. So if for some reason only one thing resonated with you, or there's only one small part of the process, you can actually show everything and be able to break that out for people. So I did get my last text message. Here it is now. And that last text message is essentially going to say, hey, now your document is ready and you can view the completed document. So I'm going to hit refresh one more time, and there it is. JuicedSign completed project. And I can review that same document that we just went through. Again, you guys all just see those signatures available. So you can see my signature and Shally's on the date. And as you just scroll through, now you have that document ready to go. Here's Shally's signature again. And then we have her initial on each one of these pages. So it's really great process to be able to have all of that. And then again, all the way at the bottom, you'll see, my signature, my initial here, and then the final approval page here at the bottom. So now you have a fluid PDF, which is one comprehensive document that was just generated and completed throughout this entire workflow. So really within 2 button clicks, you had an entire project summary package generated and then sent out for eSignature. And you could even have that be 1 button click if you would like. And Shally had mentioned, we just wanted to show the repository tab. Again, the repository tab just shows you how you can break out each one of those documents. So for example, if I wanted to take a look at that, I could say, let's check out the project Gantt, and I could look at just the Gantt chart itself as maybe someone's just trying to get an update on the schedule. Now, if someone says, hey, I want to see an updated schedule and it's 2 weeks from now, like I mentioned, you can generate that individually. So each one of those documents is one small step in this process. Each all have their own button if you'd like, but this big red button allows you to control that entire sequence without having to teach new employees, without having to explain to folks how to get things done on their own. So if you're onboarding new team members or if you have a lot of turnover, you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time you have someone new come in. You can just show them the same process and show them, hey, you just click this one button and you're going to get your project closeout. You're going to get your entire document done in the exact sequence we wanted in with one button click. So that goes to show, our entire application. Again, I just want to now pop back into our presentation, which will just kind of jump into the Juice Cloud, right? Oh, that's not what I wanted. All right. We want to go from current slide. So a lot of you may have mentioned to me, hey, that all looks great, but how do I get started? So you can easily set up any of these add-ons from the Juice Cloud. So we give you guys the options to do everything on your own. So most of our add-ons are DIY friendly, so you can easily install them through the Juice Cloud by going to set up a new add-on. And if you have any questions on that, or you don't have access to the Juice Cloud yet, or this is your first time watching a Juice video, just reach out to support@juicetech.com and we'll make sure we get you an account so that you can start using these add-ons today. And how do we go through and we kind of went through all this. And how do we go through and what's the best way to kind of handle all this? Well, the best way to handle all this is actually the Juiced license. So the Juiced license is something new that we're offering that we believe everyone should kind of keep in mind. And what is it? It's one subscription for every add-on. So it's a full suite of all of the add-ons that we just showed you, all 8 plus 12 plus more included. And that's all for one price. And you can build any workflow you want. So you can mix and match these add-ons in whatever way you want. So you can build an entire workflow like we just showed you, or maybe you just want a simple document generation into an email. Maybe you want it into an eSignature, or maybe you just want support ticketing, which is back and forth emails. So without having to procure each add-on individually, you can do many use cases as your, Quickbase grows. And you can adapt, right? Adapt as you grow. So evolve with these solutions as you need without any trial restrictions, right? You don't have to re-procure anything. It's very flexible. You have all of the tools available in your tool belt. And then, of course, you get better value on development as well. So it includes a few development hours depending on what plan you're on, as well as discounted rates so that we can help you fine tune these setups. If you do the DIY setup yourself, we can work with you to make sure that you have the ability to have the most robust setup possible. And then, of course, you stay ahead of new releases, which gives you the option to use any new beta feature that we have for no additional cost, as well as any upgrade for no additional cost. And that's besides that, we were going to talk about our booth, but you guys aren't there live, so unfortunately, you guys don't get to see much about the booth. We had a great time live with the presentation, but we do want to give you guys an opportunity to ask some questions. We do know that there was a lot that was handled today. So as part of this, we had the ability for people to actually scan this QR code and text some questions in. But since we are here on Zoom, if you guys have any questions, we can absolutely do that. And I can show you guys quickly how we got to that as well. But you can, of course, come on the mic here if you guys have questions. So we have one question in the chat. Did you say OSHA 300 logs used PDF Stamper add-on, or is it using Exact Forms Plus? Hope I asked that correctly. Jeff, great question. That one's using PDF Stamper because that is a standardized document that came from OSHA or the internet, right? If I Googled OSHA 300A form, I can get a fillable PDF to do that. So then I could use PDF Stamper to kind of generate that fillable PDF without having someone to do it by hand. So as long as the fields are available within Quickbase, you can generate that document or really any fillable PDF. Yes, it's a great tool, great way to do it. Something else is like I-9s, W-2s, other examples like that that are all kind of fillable PDFs that you get. Government forms are a great use case for PDF Stamper. Now, this QR code does go back into our app. So let's see if I navigate to the question and answer section, or really I'll go to the app home. I think we have a question and answer tab, QA dashboard, perfect. And okay, so we do have a couple. Can I trial package builder? Yes, you can trial package builder, but you do need to have a couple other add-ons. What I would recommend is taking a look and doing the actual trial of some of our other document generation add-ons as well. And then we can work with you on that sequence. But getting the Juice license is the best way to go about this. Can I schedule messages? Yes, you absolutely can schedule messages with Text My Quickbase. That can go out based off of when you want. So maybe it's 9 a.m. on a Monday. You could have those texts go out. We have a question in the Zoom chat, so I'll jump over to that. Do you have to have a Quickbase business to use a lot of these add-ons? My company's only team. Anthony, that's a great question. You do not need to be on any specific plan with Quickbase as long as you have a Quickbase account. So team plans, you can use every single feature you saw here today. You have full access to this. The plan, the amount of users, the amount of reads does not matter. That's Quickbase. Of course, we're utilizing Quickbase as the database, but you do not need to have that with Juice Technologies. You just need to be able to subscribe to these tools. So if you use our license, you'll have access to everything we just saw here today. So absolutely, that's a great question though. And I do know, yep, absolutely. I do know some people do need business for certain Quickbase features. You don't need anything like that here. Let's see. Okay. How many add-ons are in the Juice license? Like I said, it was 20 plus. If additional items are needed, like proof of insurance, is there a way to upload that? I believe you can do that with our DocuSign integration. We cannot currently do that with our JuicedSign integration. We can have files to Amazon S3 with our add-ons without being on business or enterprise. So that's a great point. So Keith brought up a great point. We save files to the Juice Cloud. That's one of the things that we do really well. To the cloud repositories. So if I pull up really quickly, give me a moment, our master demo app, you can actually see that we have multiple different add-ons that allow us to interact with the cloud, right? So we can interact with Amazon S3, with Dropbox, so that you can save files externally from Quickbase, which can save you on file attachment storage space, and you could still interact with it from that Quickbase record. So yeah, you do not need to be on a business or enterprise plan in order to do that. You can be on a Teams plan to get some of those features that you might not be able to get otherwise. And for those of you who are looking at the screen right now, this master demo site, each one of these tiles you're seeing are all included within that Juice license. So whether it be Excel docs, email parser, text my Quickbase, for those of you in healthcare who may need secure fax, QB maps, which was not shown today, those are all add-ons and features that are available to you as well. So just to jump back to here for a second, I'll hit refresh one more time, see if there's any more questions. Not really. Do text messages need to be manually pushed out? No, like ours were triggered based off of a change to Quickbase. Can you mix fast field data entry alongside JuicedSign in a single Juice document? So yes, we actually kind of did show that within our document, right? When we were showing the individual selfies that were included, those were entries from fast field. So if there was data that was included along with that, as long as that gets pushed to Quickbase, we can take that information that was grabbed within fast field. And then is there a maximum number of pages a package builder can compile? That's another great question. There is no set limit at this time, but you have to remember that Quickbase itself has a 75 megabyte limit. So if you're going to save the file back to Quickbase, it needs to be less than 75 megabytes in size. And if you want to save it to one of our cloud repositories like Amazon S3, you do have to remember that it will take that time to load, right? So if it's 1,000 pages, it may take 5 or so minutes in order to generate everything you're expecting. So just keep that in mind, and it could time out depending on how large that file is. But everything else, I think we're pretty much all set on. I'm going to call upon Shally. Is there anything here that we didn't really talk about? What do you think?
Um, I think you mentioned the new cloud. So as you can see on here, the second picture towards your right, that's going to be the new and improved Juice Cloud, which is slowly on its way. And on the left side, you can see how the cloud looks now. And then basically all the blue tiles were all the individual add-ons we use just for this process alone. But everything gray will also be accessible under the license. But I think Matt did a great job explaining everything. So
Yes.
thank you everyone for joining.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, not to give everyone FOMO, but you guys certainly didn't get the full experience, right? Didn't get to see me and Shally up on stage, giving a full presentation here. Obviously, things were a little bit more crammed and not as fluid because we're not there in person. This presentation was designed for Empower 25. But we really enjoyed doing it. We really appreciate you guys coming on here. And this will be posted to YouTube very soon so that you guys can rewatch this. In the coming weeks, we're going to be doing an Empower 25 recap. So we'll be going over kind of the main details that happen, as well as the behind the curtains of this demo, right? So everything that we reviewed here today, we're going to be going through and talking about how we had this set up, kind of the different batch parameters that were set up, but specifically focusing on package builder itself. We feel that that's a great way for those of you who have the juice license to get a ton of value, and we really look forward to working with you. And again, just to kind of end things off, remember, folks, small steps lead to large goals. So we're excited to work with you guys all on the small steps so that you can get to your large goal and use Quickbase to its fullest and as most robust as possible. So thank you all for joining today, and we look forward to speaking with you guys very soon.
Matt,
Yes, Sarah,
sorry, I just
please.
wanted to also say, because we touched about this at Empower, but if anyone's interested in, scheduling a call so we can hear a little bit more about your specific use case or go in depth a little bit more with the different use case, you guys can schedule a call with us. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. But definitely feel free to schedule a call with us.
Cool. All right. Well, we appreciate all your guys' time today. And again, we'll be in contact soon with some more updates from Empower 25, some more updates with this package builder app. And as Sarah just said, if there's any questions, comments, concerns, or you want us to learn about your own use case for Quickbase and Juiced add-ons, we'd be happy to do so.